During this class, we are going to create our first transformer specifically for the user model. We are going to use the PHP artisan new command make transformer to create this in a very easy way. So we just need to go to our command prompt and issue this. The name of the transformer is going to be user transformer. And once we have this created, we just need to go to our project again and see that inside the app folder we have a new one called transformers. There is the user transformer, and basically there are going to be all the other transformers that we are going to create along the classes. So here we have a very simple class that has a transform method. The transform method can receive, for example, an array with the original values that we are going to transform, or more interestingly, receives an instance of the object or the model that we are going to transform. So in this case, it is going to receive a user instance. Remember to import the definition of user. And then this transform method is going to return an array with the values of every attribute of our model. So for example, we have an ID that is going to be equals to the user ID. Quite simple, but this is very powerful because we can say that, for example, this ID is not an integer, it is a string, for example. But for now, we are going to keep this like an integer. Another interesting and very powerful feature for this transformation is that we can modify the name of the index. So it doesn't need to be ID. This can be, for example, identifier. And the value of the identifier key is going to be the original value of the ID of this user. So we can do similar stuff for example, the name. We have that the name is not an integer, it is a string. Then, similarly with the email, we have an attribute to know if a user is verified, so let's call this is verified. You can see that basically we are hiding the original structure and the name of the attributes from the database. So, interestingly here, the user verified is not a string, it is an integer. Of course, if at any moment it changes, we just need to say that it is now a string or a boolean or something similar. Then we have an isAdmin index that comes from the original admin field, but now it is not an integer, neither a string. It is a boolean. But unfortunately, this cannot be done in this way, because remember that originally admin comes as a string from the database, and every time that we try to transform a string to a boolean, it is going to give us 0 or false. So we need to proceed in a little different way. We are going to return the value of this comparison. If the user admin is identical to the string true, so it is going to return a boolean true. In other case, it is going to return a boolean false. Please take into account that it is not returning a string, it is returning a boolean. Of course, we can use here, for example, the constant for admin value, but in this case it doesn't matter because it's at any moment we are going to change that constant to any other value. We probably need to come here and change the way it is going to be transformed, for example, to be a string or an integer or similar. So it can be like this right now. Then we have the creation date. That comes from the created at attribute. Similarly, for the updated date, I'm going to call this last change. It is a very good idea to use indexes that are not very intuitive to know the original structure of the database. And finally, we have a very interesting attribute that is the deleted at. The problem with the deleted at attribute is that it can be null at any moment. So we need to return a string representation of the date or return a null value. So that is going to depend if this value is set. So if deleted at is set, we are going to return the string representation of this. In case of not, we are going to return null. Now we have completely implemented the first transformer of our RESTful API, specifically for the user model. We can proceed in a very similar way for the other models. So, see you in the next classes.